Alright guys, so for today's video we are going to be doing a top 5 video, and we're going to be going through the top 5 pulse rifles in Destiny 2 PvP. So coming up first, we have got the Horror's Least. Now I will start this by saying it is a rare weapon for sure. In order to get this weapon you need to do the Corrupted Strike when it's a Nightfall. It's a Nightfall exclusive pulse, and it's an exclusive for a good reason. It's a very good weapon in my opinion. It has really good, just a really good feel to it. It's a 540 RPM pulse, has a good time to kill, but does require a lot of crits in order to get that, crispy time to kill. Compared to the other 540s in the game, Lords of the Wolf from Iron Banner, you've got Outlast from Reckoning, I don't know if I'm missing any others, but they don't feel quite as good as this one to me personally. Maybe it's just the sight and the reticle, I don't know what it is. It has really good aim assist as well. The gun just feels very good to use. I'm going to go over to Light GG right here and you can take a look for yourselves. So you can see here we've got the Curated Roll. I actually got this to drop for me last week because the Corrupted was the Nightfall last week. And you can see we've got Hammerforge, Extended, Zen Moment and Outlaw. Zen Moment is the best perk you can get on pulse rifles. So for pretty much every weapon I will list this as the best perk to go for. And of course the Curated Roll does come with that. Outlaw is really good on a rapid fire pulse because it has a bad reload speed by default. Now as far as the best possible roll, I would say Arrowhead Break, Ricochet Rounds, Zen Moment, Kill Clip. That would be my personal best possible roll. You can see the other options here are not quite as good. High Impact Reserves maybe, that's about it. So that's definitely the best possible roll to go for on this weapon. And yeah, for me, best 540 RPM pulse in the game. Now coming up at number 4, we have got the Right Side of Wrong pulse rifle. This is probably a surprising pick for some people, but really you could put Right Side of Wrong in here, or you could put Go Figure in here. They're basically the same weapon, but they exist in the energy and the kinetic slot. Me personally, I enjoy using Right Side of Wrong more because I like to use the Chaperone. So basically if you had to pick between Right Side of Wrong or the Go Figure, I would choose Right Side of Wrong. So that's why it is in this list. It is an aggressive burst, 4 burst pulse rifle, 450 RPM, and it hits like an absolute truck. You might have seen the one that I have. I've done quite a few videos on it. I've had the same roll since basically the beginning of Forsaken. It has moving target and kill clip. Really good roll. Of course we also had drop mag on mine as well. And man, when you get kill clip going on a 450 aggressive pulse, it's pretty crazy to be honest. The kill sprees you can go on with this weapon are pretty disgusting. Of course, if we were talking about the base stats of the weapon, it's decent. You got good range, good stability, aim assist, recoil direction. There's nothing really to write home about as far as that goes. There's obviously a certain other pulse in the same category that far outshines this one, and we might see it later on in this list. And yeah, Right Side of Wrong is just a nasty pulse. So if we're going to take a look at the possible best rolls you could go for, I would say using any of the short zoom scopes, you're good to go. And you probably want steady rounds, and then really you're gonna have to go Zen Moment and Kill Clip. Really, that's got to be the best for me. Again, if I could choose, Zen Moment and Kill Clip for sure. Thanks again to Light GG for providing all of these awesome little bits of data that we can use to put these ideas together. And yeah, for me, Right Side of Wrong comes in at number 4. Now at number 3 we've got the Last Perdition. This is the Crucible pulse rifle and has been available in Lord Shaxx's vendor for quite some time. All you have to do is hand in tokens to him and you have a chance to get it. You can also drop at the end of matches as well, and it is a 390 RPM. So it is an adaptive frame, well-rounded, reliable, sturdy, and really 390 pulses in Destiny 2 really are the definition of that. They are very reliable. You only need to land a couple of crits, the rest can be all body shots, and the Last Perdition will put them down. The gun is just very good. For me, the best energy pulse in the game, like if I had to use an energy pulse rifle, this is my number 1 pick for sure. It's just so solid, so easy to use, and of course I know I'm kind of saying it over and over, but kill clip again takes this gun to 41 to the head, which means you can comfortably 2-burst opponents. And 2-bursting people with a 390 RPM pulse rifle, well, it's pretty nasty. I think it's pretty nasty, that's fair to say. Of course, you've got a bunch of other good possible perks for this weapon, but the interesting thing with Last Perdition is all of the best perks are in the second tree. So you've got Zen Moment, you've got Head Seeker, Snapshot, Full Auto, High Impact, Kill Clip, Rampage. they're all in the final, row. So your actual best possible roll, you can take your pick. You've got Firmly Planted, Grave Robber, Under Pressure. Me, I'd say Moving Target, Firmly Planted, Rangefinder, Outlaw. Any of those four, pair it up with Kill Clip, and there you go. If you don't care about damage, of course you've got Zen Moment as an option as well. Now, getting into the top 2 for this list is going to be quite interesting, because there are 2 top dogs as far as pulses go in this game, Blast Furnace and Bygones. But as you can see, for me, coming in at number 2, it is Blast Furnace. Now this is the Black Armory pulse rifle, only available through the Black Armory activity. You have to pick up a frame, do the objectives, and then go to the forge and make your pulse. However, very, very easy and guaranteed way to acquire this weapon. And if you want a Blast Furnace, you want to farm all day for a Blast Furnace, the activity is just there waiting for you to go ahead and net and farm it. And you really, really should. Arguably the best pulse in the game. It really depends on where you're playing. Obviously my background is mainly as a console player, so for me Bygones is definitely higher in usage than Blast Furnace. But if you're on PC, Blast Furnace probably gets more usage than Bygones, and that's because the 4-burst pulse rifles obviously perform better on a mouse, whereas a 390 is preferred on a controller. So anyway, getting into the details, obviously it's a 450 RPM 4-burst pulse rifle, and it has some really, really strong base stats. We're talking high stability, very high range. You can almost max out the range on a Blast Furnace, and basically the Blast Furnace kind of trivializes scout rifles. Basically, a scout rifle is a joke in the face of the Blast Furnace. It's just not something that can really challenge this beast of a gun. And the thing just hits like a truck from across the map. It's so solid. Like, if I'm in trouble in a game and someone's taking the piss out of me at long range, I'm like, alright, okay, I'm putting on Blast Furnace, and things immediately turn in my favor. It just blasts people in the face with a shit ton of damage, and there doesn't seem to be much they can do in response. You can try and snipe against this weapon, but then you're going to be, suffering from massive amounts of flinch due to the fact that it's a hard-hitting 4-burst weapon. So good luck sniping someone shooting a Blast Furnace at you. The weapon seems to have very little kick. It has a recoil direction of 65, as well as a base stability of 67, which can obviously be bumped up quite a lot. Say you have steady rounds, for example, which is basically the perk you want to go for. Gives you 15 to stability. That's going to bump your stability on an aggressive frame weapon that can have range up to 90. It can bump your stability all the way up to 82 stability on a weapon that hits this far and this hard. It's kind of crazy, really. And I made a video quite a while ago saying how I think this is too strong, and people were just like, no, it's definitely not. But I think it kind of contradicts the archetype, really. And if you look at something like Right Side of Wrong that came in at number 4, that's kind of more balanced. And I think Blast Furnace, because obviously it came with Black Armory, it was kind of one of the special weapons to go for in order to incentivize people to do the activities. Sometimes what Bungie will do is they will really crank up the power of certain legendaries. You can see that with spare rations as well. For example, with Reckoning, clearly they it's got really good hidden stats and all that kind of thing. They bump them up to be more desirable, and I definitely think that was the case for the Blast Furnace as well. Now, if you were to go over to Light GG, we can see the possible roles. Here's the curated role. We've got Tactical Mag, Outlaw, and Headseeker, and here you can see the possible roles. Obviously, for me, you want to go with Steady Round for sure. In this slot, you want to go Zen Moment. It's an absolute no-brainer. And then in the second slot, for me, actually, Rampage is definitely more of a contender against Kill Clip with this archetype, because it's going to give you that damage buff on the fly, and obviously it's going to give you enough damage to comfortably 2-burst people. Whereas Kill Clip obviously can also 2-burst, but with far more forgiving body shot damage. It was a tough choice to choose between Blast Furnace and the number 1 pulse that is coming up, and I think you guys know what that is at this point. It is the Drifter's pulse rifle of choice, the Bygones, the Gambit pulse rifle. It is an adaptive frame, 390 RPM. It has a base stability of 59, range of 53, handling 51, reload 51. It does what it says on the tin. It's an adaptive weapon, sturdy and reliable, all of that. Now guys, you've probably been killed by this gun too many times to count. It is, the best pulse rifle on console by a considerable distance. If you die to a pulse on console, 90% chance it's Bygones. Now, why is that? it's kind of a strange one, really. When you look at the base stats and when you look at the hidden stats, it has aim assist of 61, recall of 69. There's nothing particularly special going on here. That recall direction as well is kind of not what you want. You want to be closer to 5, so you want it to be 65 or 75. It's 69. You know, you can make your jokes in the comment section if you want. There's nothing particularly special about it, but when you actually use this gun, anybody who's used it can just feel how stable and accurate and consistent the weapon is. It just seems to have little to no recoil management needed. The burst, the grouping of the burst seems super tight, super like just every burst, every bullet hits them, and it flinches the absolute living daylights out of your opponents. And I don't know, there's just something about the Bygones that is just so solid and reliable. Obviously that range as well, 53 range. You think that's not great, but this weapon can hit at fucking crazy ranges. And the role that you're going to be fighting against most of the time is the curated role, or sorry, the vendor role that the Drifter sold at the end of Forsaken, the season, where obviously once you do a certain amount of gambit, you could just pick it up from the Drifter, and it came with full auto, kill clip, flared magwell, and we had arrowhead break and corkscrew rifling as our barrel options, and that is basically a god roll. The only thing you could improve on the roll that he sold would probably to swap ricochet rounds in there instead of flared magwell, and that's it. Other than that, you want arrowhead break, you want kill clip, and you want full auto trigger system. Because full auto on this gun is just, I don't know, it's like you're shooting an auto rifle, but it's a pulse rifle. Can't explain it. Obviously, like we spoke already at detail earlier in the video, kill clip allows 390 RPM pulse rifles to 2 bursts to the head, and combine that with the scope that's very clear, the nice reticle, the stable nature of the weapon, full auto and 2 bursting. It's hard to top the Bygones. It is top of the pile, guys, and it is the #1 pulse rifle in Destiny 2. This is particularly from a console point of view as well. If you're a PC player, you might think Blast Furnace is better, but for a console player, for the majority of players, Bygones is the top dog. And there is my top 5 of all of the pulse rifles in Destiny 2. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to leave a like, leave a comment on what you thought of the list, and of course hit that subscribe button if you have not yet already for more daily Destiny 2 content. Peace.